Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new season of Tavern Talk. I am Forrest Will, award-winning host of SHL Week Tonight, and a pretty mediocre Hearthstone player. I am joined tonight with our two new co-hosts. We have a whole new cast. Well, not quite new. We'll get to that in just a moment. First off, she is a Twitch streamer and an avid rogue player, as well as a THL All-Star. It is Steffi. Steffi, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing great tonight. Also, reintroducing him back to Tavern Talk, he is the original Tavern Talk founder, the THL Hall of Fame content producer, and he's also a Twitch streamer as well. Jacksox. Jacksox, how are you doing this evening?
Druids are still cheat, as are rogues, but other than that, I'm good because I started playing rogue. How you doing, Force Will?
I'm doing great tonight. Doing great. So, yeah, this is it. The beginning of Regnerus Season 8 and Sylvanas Season 5. And we're going to be talking about all of them tonight. In fact, I think we're going to be going over at least 12 in various forms, discussion about what's ones we're excited about, as well as kind of the matches that are going to be streamed this week later on. Now, normally in the show, this would be where we would start discussing the matches from the previous week. But since we are in week one, we don't have anything to talk about in that respect. So let's talk about a little bit more as we look towards the beginning of the season. Starting off with a little bit of the meta discussion. Now, kind of want to get everybody's impression on this. I think when we're talking about Conquest and Last Hero Standing meta, we have to put it in relation to the ladder. So right now, what do y'all feel are kind of the best ladder decks out there right now?
I mean, I've been seeing a whole bunch of different stuff, especially with the I've been seeing a lot different meta between last season and this season in the 4-day difference. Last season I saw almost exclusively Q block. This season I feel like every single player out there is playing priest of some sort, whether it be big priest or Razakis priest, and it's not a fun time for me out there.
No, yeah, priest, it seems to be incredibly popular right now. And the tough thing about priest is there are 3 viable priest decks right now, because you have your big priest, you have your Razakis priest, and you have this dragon priest that some of them are running the spiteful summoner package, some are not. Steffi, what are kind of your thoughts on the current ladder meta?
So I feel like I've been facing a lot of warrior, or not warrior, oh my gosh, no, warlock and priest as well. So I think most of my matches are usually against one of the two, and those are the 2 decks I personally have been flipping back and forth with. But I still have been going against some rogue as well, more like the Tempo Prince rogue too. So I don't know.
In your little mistake there, you brought up a point that I was thinking about the other day as I was going through my match history. I don't think I've played a warrior since like the 2nd week of December.
No, it's so sad.
I would say maybe at a rank floor, possibly, just someone who's just messing around. But no, I haven't seen Warrior's gone. Shaman, for the most part, is gone. Again, you'll occasionally see a evolved Shaman.
Yeah, I was about to say, your comment towards Shaman. Kibler whooped my ass earlier today, pardon my language, but he played Unstable Evolution 12 times in 1 turn.
Nice.
Wow, nice.
That's very unfair. Nice. That is unfair.
Yeah, that I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, that's really broken when you do it that many times in a single turn. And interestingly enough, I think the Vicious Syndicate data just came out today, and actually I think now defining decks, because they have this new meta score they're doing. It appears that Tempo Rogue is also starting now to play I shouldn't say starting to. It played a large role last season as well.
Yeah.
But it seems to be continuing its role into this season with the Prince Keliseth package and everything else on top of that. So I would probably expect to see a little bit more Tempo Rogue as well going into the ladder, especially this week after it's had such a strong showing.
I mean, I hear Steffi's a pretty good rogue player, so I'd love to get her input on this.
As I've heard both y'all are pretty good rogue players.
I I mean, I like to think I'm a really good rogue player. No, but yeah, I totally agree with that. That's like what I was saying, that I feel like I've been facing a lot of rogues still on ladder, just like kind of, it's not as prominent as it was before, but it's still there. It's still relevant. It's still a really good deck. So.
Okay, so four mana getting 3 1/2 drops is pretty good in a paladin deck when you have a bunch of divine shields, taunts, murlocs. So
yeah, in my season in December, I played Gun to Fire's Aggro Paladin, which is the non-Murloc package. It revolves more around the Divine Shields, and that thing carried me to 5. But I wasn't able to do anything when I got there because there was just nothing but Priest and Warlock, which annihilated that deck. But between both the Murloc and the traditional-looking Aggro Paladin, I mean, I'm pulling up my Hearthstone deck tracker stats. I'm 52-3 against it with Rogue. Like it's good, but it has its matchups that just feel like unwinnable at the moment.
Yeah,
they really do.
I feel like if you don't win or get really far ahead in the beginning of the game or like the match, then you can just get shut out at the end. So it's really just like drawing the right cards and winning. But isn't that like every deck though? It's just about drawing the right cards and then winning.
And how many times have you had Divine Favor dead in your hand with that deck? It feels bad, man.
Right.
It feels Paladin, man.
It does feel bad. It's like, well, especially because when you have some of the tempo decks like Rogue, which, okay, against Rogue, you might be good if you draw 2. And then if you play Warlock, you might get a 8 draw with the Divine Favor, but it's not a whole lot. It's like it does have cards that can end up being very dead in your hand. Unfortunately, it's the only way that Paladin can actually reload after that. So I think we have pretty well defined the ladder meta. So let's go ahead and take this discussion into Regnerus League and Conquest. So what are some changes that y'all are expecting from the ladder meta to be coming into Conquest? Because usually Conquest, there's usually a couple ways you can look at Conquest. Is either A, you bring the best decks, or B, you target 1 to 2 of your opponent's decks, ban the one that your matches are going to be bad against, and then just kind of go that route. Do you think we're going to see more of just bring the best decks, or do you think we're going to see some strict targeting for things like Paladin and Rogue that can be targeted?
I'm foreseeing, this is kind of what I'm expecting, and it might be, if my opponent's out there, my strategy this week. I'm thinking we ban Priest, because get that out of here. Nobody likes those cheaters. And then you just put some silence in your deck, and you hope that the Warlock can't find a way to beat you with good old Gul'dan, and that you could smack his face before like turn 6.
So, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think silence is going to be a big part of this meta. I think you're going to see a lot of decks running dual Spellbreaker. You're going to be seeing a lot of decks running, of course, Priests themselves, they can just run Silence. Maybe you want to see some return of Ironbeak Owl, possibly. Steffi, what's your kind of thoughts on this?
I kind of agree. I feel like going into it, since I'm doing both of them this time around too, I really just picked the 4 classes that I felt were the strongest. And then my goal is to kind of see what my opponent's bringing and cater against them. And really just kind of pick in a couple of those tech cards based on what I think they're going to be bringing. Obviously, 100% bringing silences, because like in this meta, you just have to be running them. And even a couple of the crawlers too, to deal with the Pally and the Rogues. So we'll see.
So also on that front, though, because this conversation has happened amongst a few of the THL vets that I've been talking to over the past week or two. I've also heard a lot of mumblings of Zoo as a tech bring. Do you guys expect to see a little more Zoo in the THL meta, as even though it's not as prevalent on ladder?
I actually anticipate seeing some Zoo, just because I think theoretically you could run at least a 3-deck aggro or a 3-deck aggro lineup. I don't think there's an aggro Priest, and I still think Priest is probably pretty much a required bring in actually both these formats. We'll get to Last Hero Standing in a moment, but theoretically, yeah, you could bring Aggro Paladin, Tempo Rogue, and Zulok and just try to race down whatever other decks you're playing against. I could see Zoo as a choice for countering this meta.
I don't really. I mean, I can understand why people would do it, and I can I could see it happening. Foresee people being like, "Oh, I'm going to be sneaky because my opponent thinks I'm going to be bringing this, and I'm going to bring this, and ha ha ha." But I don't know. I just don't think Zoo is the strongest aggro deck. So to me, it really, I personally wouldn't do it, because like, what if you both start off with that, and like you start off against the opponent's Rogue or Pally, and they're just faster? Then it's just like, oh well.
I mean, I've struggled with the Pally deck. I struggled a great deal against the Zoo that people are bringing, because I can't think off the top of my head the name of the card, the 4/5 that deals 1 damage at the end of the turn.
Oh the dude.
He's like he's an auto clear. He's you're sitting there with your blood sails out, and your Righteous Protector just got popped last turn, and now you're just super sad because nobody had traded and all your minions are gone, and that just, it doesn't feel good, man.
I guess that's if you're bringing Rogue though, and I'm not, so I can understand that perspective.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, I'm going to just bring it up. We're going to have, this is something that's going to be coming in future weeks. We're going to have official stats on a week-by-week basis in terms of decks brought, decks banned, and everything else. I believe that's going to be coming out on Monday or Tuesday next week after the first week. But just looking at it right now, well, actually, let's see. Oh, here we go. It looks like by far Priest, 91 of 100 people have brought Priest. The second highest is Warlock with 82, Rogue with 70, and Paladin with 67. So it does seem like everybody, at least right now, at least the majority of people are really thinking, of course, Priest and Warlock are kind of the required brings. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it seems like it's leaning towards Paladin and Rogue. Druid is not too behind. That's the only one with at least 50 representation. Is 52 people are bringing that.
I thought it was interesting to see how quickly that Secret Paladin fell off. I enjoyed playing it a little bit. I ran into it quite a bit on ladder, but like this month I haven't seen it at all. And when I was watching the class selections for Regnerus, I was like, did I make mistakes by bringing Mage? So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see about that. And that is one of the tech choices I've been thinking about. Again, I don't know if it's a great tech choice, but I think, and when you're dealing with Conquest, you can start having discussions about things like, Exodia Mage, something you don't see on ladder, but something that might be a viable bring here, especially if people are bringing, Rizaka's Priest and Q-Block. That might be an account, that might be a target deck that you could potentially do with that. But again, I think that's going to be something that we get further into the season and do that. So with the last few minutes we have about this discussion, or about this topic, let's talk about Last Hero Standing. So Last Hero Standing, of course, is a little bit different because, again, it's not necessarily, you definitely can't bring the 4 best decks in Last Hero Standing because you have to actually win with your decks and to keep playing them. So this becomes more of a format of counter queuing. Opponent wins Paladin, might go with Warlock to counter or something along those lines. So how do you think the meta for Last Hero Standing is going to shake out this season? I'll start with Steffi on this one, since you're playing both.
So I'm kind of going into this like a noob, this format. So I didn't really know what to expect. I'm not gonna lie and try to pretend I know, because I was just like, okay, let's just try it out. Sounds like fun. But I definitely think because of the format, you need to bring a deck that you can just win 4 in a row, right? Or beat your you need to beat one deck with, you know what I mean? So. Yeah. I understand that it's definitely a lot more techie. I feel like you're really going to pay attention to what your opponent's bringing and being like, okay, how can I build my decks so I can literally beat all of them, and things like that. So yeah.
All right. So Jaxus, I don't think you're playing in Sylvanas League this season, but
no, I have not played Last Hero Standing since I want to say season beta. Maybe we did. We used to do LHS as the only format. I can't remember if there was alpha, beta, but by far my least favorite season because of the strategy involved, and it's there's more. First off, there's more pilot error in the decks that I see people in Sylvanas League playing, which I just want to hit your face and not think about what I'm doing. I want to play 4 drops on turn 4, but I'm kind of thinking that when I think of last year's standing, I think of what classes out there are the hardest to counter and how do people work around that versus what are the counters to those decks. And I see once again Warlock just being so strong in this in the last Hero Standing format, because I feel like Priest is just it might just be my natural hatred towards Priest. I did spend a lot of time with Brunson, but I also talked to Slim. He tells me that Anduin's a good guy, but I feel like Priest is going to get banned, and then it's how far can my Warlock carry me versus can I take out my opponent's Warlock before he takes out mine. But once again, I haven't played that since it was Alpha or Beta that we did last Hero Standing, so my input is about as useful as somebody that plays Shadowverse or whatever.
I think I tend to agree with what y'all have said here. Is I think Priest is basically a required bring just because the whole entire meta seems to warp around Priest. But then Warlock is the second one that I think is the one that you can bring in if you have your draws, if you have everything you need to. I think you can sweep with Warlock. Then the question becomes, what do you bring for your counter decks? And I say, these are things where I can think you start saying, all right, do I want to bring Druid to possibly play aggro Druid or have the flexibility to play aggro and Jade Druid, depending on what my opponent's bringing? Do I bring, again, something like Mage? Do I bring something like Rogue? Interestingly, looking at the brings for this week, Priest and Warlock are, of course, 1 and 2, as expected. But really, then it gets... Paladin and Rogue are really close, followed by Druid at 40. 40 players bringing. So I think there's a little bit closer range in LHS. But it's going to be interesting to see, because I think what Steffi said is right. This is the format where you tech, and you can tech hard against one particular deck, knowing you're not going to play this deck unless the other deck beats you first, so that you can counter into it. So I definitely think that's something that we can see going forward with this. So that's our meta discussion going into week 1. Now we're talking about the fun stuff. Let's start talking about the league itself. And we're going to start talking about some exciting matches going into week 1. Now we did put a caveat on this, since all 3 of us do play in Rag and or Sylvanas. We did put the caveat, you cannot pick your own team. So you cannot say, I'm excited for my team for this reason. You have to pick a match that you're excited for outside of your own team going forward. So we're actually going to start with Jack Sox here. So Jack Sox, what was your pick for Regnerus League match that you're interested in?
For Regnerus, I really liked seed by seed, the whole team matchup between the Stubbies and really nice guys, aka RNG. I'm also really excited to see what the return of Andy Rogers brings, going up against Blood Hunter over there in Texas Stubbies. And Andy hasn't been in the THL game for a while, but he was a well-respected dude here. And then they have some really interesting matchups in the 3C between a vet like Josh Sampson and Shunsui,
I think
he was the extreme personality that was on the Tavern Talk Championship Edition there.
Yes.
It seems like an awesome guy, but I also love this matchup because you have 2 of the higher PR 5 seeds squaring off. You know, both these teams invested heavily into Dr. Mandingo and Crackshot. And I just think there's quite a few coin toss matchups that make this one interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now, Really Nice Guys is a new team this season. I think if I remember correctly, I'm not 100% certain. I think I'm trying to remember from the reveal stream. I think there's some Texas Stubbies on Really Nice Guys from last season. If I remember correctly. I believe that's the case. I'm not 100% certain. But you have Texas Stubbies, reigning THL champions, against a relatively new team. So I could see could be very, very interesting. It'll also give us an idea of, one, where Really Nice Guys stand, as well as where Texas Stubbies is going into a brand new season as well. Steffi, do you have any thoughts on this matchup? Hello, Steffi?
Did we lose?
Did we lose Steffi?
We may have lost.
We have
a Steffi. We have a
Alright,
Steffi down here. There she is.
Oh, there she is.
And there goes my eardrums.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a really good one. I personally
Tomo arigato, Steffi Rabato.
No.
Okay. I think that sounds better. Whatever you just said. Oh, never mind.
Here.
This is the remix.
I can hear you.
Okay, so
So where does Bloodbath and Beyond? Where do they sneak out 2 more wins to take Project Mayhem in this matchup? Because you look at Hockey Boys and Fall Durden, and Hockey Boys is pretty good for it to be down there in that 4 seed. Where else do you think they could potentially steal 2 more wins from Project Mayhem?
I think AO could potentially beat Start, and I know it's a close PR match, but I do think that's a possibility. But the one that I'm really looking at is Yellow Dart versus Itachi. Now, I think Itachi may be relatively new. I do not know much about Itachi off the top of my head, but I do know Yellow Dart, I believe, if I remember correctly, and I could be completely wrong on this, so I'd have to look at my full list of rewards, but I do believe he was one of the All-Stars for his seed last season. So I definitely think Yellow Dart can pick up a win against Itachi. And yeah, Hockey Boys I think can take a win against Follow Durden. And then I think from there is probably like I think AO can take Starden, but that's probably gonna be the deciding match, I think.
Yeah,
right
Slim
now.
Chess confirmed for us that Yellow Dart was an all-star and also had a great season.
Yes. So
that's going down there. That's going on down there in that filthy gold and purple division where those
Yes.
types of players play. It's not up here in the beautiful red-blue division where the good guys live.
No, yeah, I mean, blue and red division are just stacked.
It's Superman colors. It's Spider-Man. It's Superman. It's America up there. When you look at the spreadsheet, you see red, white, and blue up there. This is the American division. America.
Fuck yeah. So let's go. Let's talk about Steffi's match, even though she's not here at the moment to discuss it. She has decided as her match to watch as Bad Hombres versus Prep Coin Concede. And I do like that she picked this, one, because one, we're talking about the Bad Hombres, which is always a great team to talk about. But two, the match with Prep Coin Concede right now is currently sitting at 6-6. Jetlaw beat Bites, and Smoked Salmon beat Cinder. So this is actually a pretty interesting matchup, just as is right now. And of course, we know Bad Hombres history. They tend to be the memers. They're the ones who bring the interesting decks, or as they call them, creatively competitive decks.
Well, all I have to say to combat that comment is ask MV Parker how many times he's lost to quote unquote Dunamis decks. I cannot tell you the amount of times. For those of you who are not familiar with MV Parker and maybe new to the league this season,
No, you definitely cannot count. If I was betting money on Mill Rogue, but that's just me. Against Jasper. So I think the last three matchups here, Dunamis does have a history of winning with these really creative decks. Brunson has a history, but Jasper, I believe Jasper was part of Tiny Fin Fan Club in Sylvanas League last season, so he can hold his own at that 4th seed. And then Lemur versus Necrotic, again, probably Lemur there. So
it all depends on how Lemur approaches it, to be honest with you.
Correct. Very, very true with that. So we'll definitely see how that plays out this week. But again, it's tied 6-6 right now, so it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of these matches go for this week. Let's jump over to Sylvanas League real quick, because we do still have quite a few matches we need to talk about. Looking at the Sylvanas League matches, what was your choice for match of the week?
So one of the struggles I've had with Sylvanas League is back in the SHL days, I did not follow the Sylvanas League that closely because last year's standing was not all that interesting to me. But with the addition of a second showcase that was happening weekly, and then the third with Sunday Showdown, I started getting exposed to these matches whether I wanted to or not. So I had a very limited pool of knowledge to work with. So I chose the match I felt I had the most to say about here. I'm really excited to get to know more about Sylvanas League this season, and maybe even try it out next season, or see if I can sub over there. Captains, you heard it here. You need an awesome 4 or 5 seed. I'm your man. But I went with Tryhard versus Booty Sweat, if on nothing else other than the name alone. But there's also some great players in there that it's going to make it very interesting to watch. The 1 and 2 seeds in this matchup, to me, are bonkers, and I would love to watch these matches. You got good old G-Nets facing off against Arakoki, 2 guys I got a lot of respect for. I had to play Arakoki last season, and I believe he beat me thoroughly, but there were good matches, and I had a lot of fun with them. And then Surlos versus Hockey Boys. I don't even know how I skipped out. Actually, I'm going down the list. There's not a bad match on here.
No, there's really not.
There's really not, especially as you look at that 5 seed. Do not let the Town Drunk, do not let his PR fool you. I have played Donnie. I've seen Donnie beat players of the caliber of like Jesus. I don't know if he beat Lemur. When Donnie focuses, he could be a fantastic Hearthstone player. So that discrepancy that there appears to be on paper is not there in real life. And it's going up against the Anarchist, who's a well-respected member of this community. I don't know about his Hearthstone skills. I'll see you in my DMs, boy. The top to bottom, though, dude, these are slug matches.
These are really great matches. I sort of wish we would have gotten one of these on stream this week now that I'm looking at it, because there are some really, really great matches here.
Is my mic working? I'm afraid to talk, but I can't tell if it's working.
I can hear you clearly right now, Steffi.
I can hear you clearly now, Steffi.
Do I sound like death still?
No, you do not sound like death. Welcome back to the land of the living.
Okay, good.
So we've got Steffi back. So, it's like, so Steffi, we did talk about your Regnerus League matchup. So did you have anything you wanted to? Did you have anything you wanted to add about Bad Hombres versus Prep Coin Concede?
No, I was the reason why I picked them, I'm gonna also try to talk quietly as well, just to be safe. But the reason why I picked them is because I know Bad Hombre's name was floating around a lot last season. Because remember, I only did it last season, so I don't really know anybody. And most of the people I know are on like the teams that I'm a part of this season, and I was like, well, I can't pick them. But so like I said, I heard their name floating around, and so to me, I was like, oh, well, their names be floating around for a reason, so they must be pretty good. And then my boy Robobson's on Prep Coin Concede, so I was like, well, duh. Like, yeah, I think that's going to be really good. And Jetlaw did really, really, really well last season, so I'm excited to see how he performs too, to see if he does just as well. So that's why I picked them. And then for the Sylvanas League, for my picks, I did the 65, or I mean, yeah, we're talking about that now.
Yeah, we're going right into it. So that's
good. I picked the 65,340,285 fours versus Explosive Sheep. And so the reason I think this is going to be really interesting, I know that they've some of the players have already played their matches, but one, I was really excited because Explosive Sheep, I feel like their PR points are like lower comparative to like the other teams. And I think that's just going to be interesting, just like to kind of see them. And I know the Boars as well, theirs is a little bit lower too. So it's going to be cool to kind of like see like them starting off going against each other. And I noticed, I mean, after I was starting to look more, I noticed a lot of teams not everybody brought Priest, but I noticed that Murdoch and Mojo for Explosive Sheep didn't bring Priest. And to me, I'm just like, why?
Because Murdoch. Because like Murdoch.
That was very interesting too. As far as I know, they may be the only two players. Maybe, I don't know.
I think there's a couple, but I didn't. And Mojo's bringing Warrior, and I'm like, you know what? You do you. I'm excited to see how this turns out. So yeah, that was my thought behind those picks.
I would say, and right now, Explosive Sheep is currently up against the Boars. After Matty Ebbs was able to sweep Cinder 3-0. There's still a lot of matches left there, but it's definitely a very interesting matchup. And plus, it's Boars versus Sheep, so we can finally settle this debate once and for all.
I know. It's the cutest ones. It's the Boars versus the Sheeps.
As you point that out with the Explosive Sheep there, about their top two seeds not bringing Priest, I wonder if they just figured it was going to be banned anyways. So if I bring two flexible classes, in the traditional Rogue and Warlock, could I just get away with abusing my opponent's lineup? Because Priest is pretty much going to get banned throughout. I would imagine with Last Hero Standing, because it can beat so many archetypes out there. If there, I don't want to put their strategies out there, but there might be a rhyme to the reason here. But it's also Murdoch, so you never know.
So yeah, you're right. It's like there could be a logic. I will say I think there's more logic behind Murdoch's than maybe Mojo Powell, because he also brought Hunter, besides bringing Warrior. He brought Hunter and Warrior.
It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a great match. That's why I'm excited.
It's gonna be really great. So for my matchup, I actually, and unfortunately they did it during the reveal show, I still wanted to just start quoting X is gonna give it to you again, but I don't have the lyrics in front of me right now, so sorry y'all aren't getting this. But my match to look for this week is Xynergy versus Tollywag's Disciples. The reason I'm really excited about this match, well, twofold. One, Xynergy made the playoffs last season by the skin of their teeth, I will say. They basically had to get almost sweep their opponent in the final week, and then Dad Legend had to lose, and there was a bunch of things that had to go through it. But X gave it to him. X made the playoffs last season. Wolfmac is a number 1 seed, really, really great person. However, the reason I'm really interested in this match is Tollywag's Disciples, because I believe most of this team is relatively new, with the exception of Banja, their captain. Banja played on Team Black Lotus last season, and I was hoping to retain him on my team this year, but unfortunately, due to needing a few captains he decided to become a captain this year. And so I'm really excited to see the type of team he put together here. He did really great last season. I think ended up being 5-2 on the season, his first season in Team Hearth League. And then, as I said, the rest of the people, I know Jim Philos has been around for a while, but that Jester and Staler, who's subbing this week, and Switters, I don't know as much about them necessarily, but it looks like a really interesting matchup. And again, I want to see if Xynergy can pick up where they left off, as well as how does Tollywags handle it. Currently, Tollywags is up 3-0 or 4-0 over Xynergy at this very moment, since Jim Philos swept Earthshatter.
I just want to jump in and say one thing. I'm copywriting and trademarking it now. With Team Mox and Team Black Lotus out there, there will be no Team Blood Moon. That's officially copywritten by me. Also, MTG players, did you see Blood Sun? What are they doing to the game?
Yes, I did. I'm saying, yeah, thanks for giving Tron players land hate. I don't even know how you pulled that off, but somehow you actually were successful in pulling that off. But that's Magic. Let's get back to
We're in Hearthstone.
I don't even know Magic. I don't even understand any of that.
All right. So we have about 20 some odd minutes left in the show. So what I want to go through really quickly for the end of the show is the matches we're going to have on stream. And instead of just telling you what the matches are going to be, I would like for us to discuss the matches. And we're actually going to start with Sylvanas League. We're going to go backwards this time. And we're going to start off with Tiny Finn Fan Club versus the Fearless Hearth. Now, of course, Tiny Finn Fan Club is the reigning champions of Sylvanas League. They basically crushed everybody last season, I believe. Against the Fearless Hearth, which is a relatively new team. Now, this match will be the first match, the 3 p.m. match on Salty Saturday. And it's going to be Try Me Homie versus Apex Predator, which is not only a battle of the 2 seeds, but also a battle of players that are new to THL. I do not believe they have played before in Team Hearth League. So, as of right now, I do not believe any games have been played last time I checked. So, Jacksox, what are your thoughts on this matchup? We have the reigning champs versus a brand new team.
I have to say, man, Tiny Finn looks really, really strong again this season. And I don't know a lot of the dudes over on Fearless Hearth outside of Cutthroat, but I look at some of the names over on Tiny Finn, Enamor, Arcane THL, Jasper, G-Kick, guys that have been doing their thing for a minute now. And having the experience, I think people greatly underestimate the difference in strategy in THL versus other tournament formats. The fact that we know each other's class so far in advance, the fact that deck lists are not exchanged and you can't really fully account for the special attacks your players are going to put in. To have Tiny Finn coming back with such a strong roster and to also be going up against a team that's new to Sylvanas League, I don't know, man. I want to see. I'm definitely a David guy. Who cares about Goliath? I would love to see Fearless come out here and make a statement and be yet another first season champion, going the ways of like HSA or some sort of situation to that effect. Stubbies were the lowest PR team last year coming into the season, and they put in their work. So I want to see Fearless do well, but I can't help but to feel that Tiny Finn's got this one pretty locked up.
All right, so you're picking Tiny Finn. Do you have a prediction on the match between Try Me Homie and Apex Predator with two new players?
The only real thing I throw out there is as I look at the brings, I think I like Rogue a little more than I like Druid right now. So I have to say that I like Apex's bring a lot better than Homies for my personal flavor and what I think has been doing well for me in the meta right now. I think Rogue too strong. Oh wait, he's got Rogue as Warlock. Oh Jesus, that's why I couldn't see it there. Oh man, definitely. Oh God, Apex is gonna give it to him. It's happening. It's happening. You heard it here. Apex is gonna give it to him.
All right. So, Steffi, what are your thoughts on the match? And give us who you think's going to win. Tiny Finn versus Fearless Hearth, as well as who is going to win against Try Me Homie versus Apex Predator.
So I'm looking at their stuff right now too. I'm so into like the underdogs and like the newbies like kicking butt. Like that's like I just think that's like such a great thing because you never know. It's exciting when you have a new team coming in and like new talent that you're kind of discovering in the league like with everybody else. So I don't know. I kind of want the Fearless Hearth to take this one for that reason. And so let's see. Yeah, Try Me Homie brought Druid, Pally, Priest, and Rogue versus Pally, Priest, Rogue, and Warlock. Like he didn't bring Warlock though? Oh, I don't know. But you know what? I think Druid is the really good pick though for this format. And I know we kind of said that earlier. Like that deck could really go either way. So I think Try Me Homie is gonna win.
So Try Me Homie is gonna win the match on Salty Saturday, and you're picking Fearless Hearth for the match.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. I'm actually I'm going to agree with Jack Sox here. I think I don't expect Tiny Fan Club. Now, I will say they did lose one big component last season. They had Si Ho Yun as their number 2 seed. They now have Try Me Homie as the number 2 seed for Tiny Fan Club. That is a loss, but I don't think it's a big enough loss to sway the match to the Fearless Hearth. That being said, I do think Apex Predator, I do like his lineup a lot better than I like Try Me Homies. As we mentioned earlier, I think you have to have a really, really good reason not to bring Warlock in this format. So I'm going to say I think it's going to be Apex Predator who's going to win the match or win their match against Try Me Homie, but Tiny Fan Club will win the match against the Fearless Hearth.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So the next match actually involves one of our people here. So the next match that we want to talk about is the last of the Sylvanas League matches is Tam Pam Surf Slam versus Big Deck Bandits. Now, Big Deck Bandits, I believe, made the playoffs last season. They think in the semifinals to Tiny Fan Club, actually. Tam Pam Surf Slam is actually a relatively new team, but it's actually a lot of the components of Dirty Mike and the Boys from Regnerus League. So, the matchup that we're going to be casting, and this is actually going to be the first match on Friday Night Fights tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, is Lefty 211 versus Steffi. Of course, Steffi was runner-up Rookie of the Year last year for Regnerus League and an All-Star for her season, her first season. Lefty, member of Dirty Mike and the Boys, has been runner-up in the past 2 seasons of Regnerus League. So, let's start with, actually, Jack, you started last time, so I'll start this time to make sure we're getting enough fair all the way across. I'm going to start with predictions. I think Steffi, actually, let me look at the decks to make sure I'm looking at this right. Okay, Lefty brought Shaman. I think bringing Shaman is almost inexcusable. So, Steffi is definitely going to be my pick for the match. That being said, for the entire match between Big Deck Bandits and Tam Pam Surf Slam, I am going to have... I should say from the get-go, actually, Tam Pam Surf Slam is up right now 4-1. Osmonaut has beat Doc McButt 3-1. So there's one, but I'm going to go against the current score, And I'm going to say I think Big Date Bandits will come back and win this with Mushu and Imposition and Finnicadaire still left to play. In fact, I'll go so far as to say I would not be shocked if they sweep the last 4 matches. Or not sweep, but they'll take the other 4 matches in this match. So I think Big Date Bandits is going to win. I think Steffi's going to win the Friday Night Fight match.
Here's my issue with you picking Steffi. All right.
Yep.
Steffi in her introduction asked to be referred to as an avid rogue player. Right. She asked for that to be in her accolades, right? But yes, she doesn't bring rogue.
I did not bring rogue.
So I'm gonna pick Lefty to win my heart, but I'm gonna pick Steffi to win the match. Because if you're going to say you're an avid rogue player, you better bring rogue. And you know what, Lefty? Shaman. It's a bold move, and I appreciate that, Cotton. But overall, as much as I love the Shaman bring and the memes that are happening, I think the 1-2-3 of Big Deck Bandits is way too strong. And Dirty Mike is a hell of a guy and is going to give Imposition a run for his money, but I think Imposition takes it. Mushu does the thing. If you guys know about the thing, Mushu does it. I don't know if I think that Nate loses to Finnicadaire, but I think overall the top 3 seeds will carry Big Deck Bandits to the victory.
All right, excellent. So we're agreement there. All right, so Steffi, I think I know who your match win is going to be, but you can surprise me here. So, and make sure to talk some trash while you're giving your predictions.
Oh gosh, I mean, obviously, no, I'm just kidding. I actually, I like to think that I'm going to win, and I hope I win. But I mean, who knows? Shaman's so random. What if it like randomly sweeps me and then I go cry in my bed at night? Like, we don't know. But I think with our lineups, I think my lineup is a little bit stronger than Lefty's. So I think I'm going to take it. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think I'm going to win. And I mean, I think my team's really good. But I will say the Tam Pam Surf Slam, they have so many good players. Like, they have so many good players on their team. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm just like, oh, that's intimidating. But I still think the Big Deck Bandits are going to get it because, we have the big decks. So
big decks.
Easy. Big decks always win.
Yep. Excellent. All right. So we are all in agreement there with Steffi winning and Big Deck Bandits being the match winner there. So let's go on over to Regnerus League now. So we have 3 quick matches. We want to talk about this. We have about 12 minutes. So I think we're doing good on time to get y'all set for Thursday Throwdown. So let's start off with actually probably what I would say could be considered the biggest match of this week, which is Hearthstone Academy versus Dirty Mike and the Boys. Hearthstone Academy, of course, is the 2-time, the only team to win back-to-back Regnerus League championships, and Dirty Mike and the Boys have reached the finals of the last 2 Regnerus League championships. So, let's start with Steffi this time. So, Steffi, what are your? I should say, all right. So, and the match. This is going to actually be the 4 p.m. match on Salty Saturday. It's going to be Sage versus Arakoki, who are both 3 seeds here. Now, Sage, of course, is the captain of Hearthstone Academy. They have had 2 Regnerus League championships. Arakoki's captain of Dirty Mike and the Boys. So this is a battle of captains and a battle of 3 seeds. So, Steffi, what is your prediction on who's going to win the Salty Saturday matchup and who is going to win the matchup as a whole?
This one's tough. This is a really strong teams going against each other, in my opinion. So I don't know. I'm looking at let me look up their matchup. I have it right in front of me. Sage is bringing Hunter and Mage, which I find slightly questionable. But I mean, it could pull through. Who knows? I think for the match though, I'm gonna have to give it to Eric. Is it Arakoki? Arakoki. I'm gonna have to give it to him just because I think his lineup's a little bit stronger, and I think his lineup can be counter what Sage is bringing just a little bit better. And then as for which team I think is going to pull through, I think it's going to be Dirty Mike and the boys as well, just because they're so strong. I just like where they're going with their lineups and what they're bringing. I think it's consistent. It's more consistent than Hearthstone Academy. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that one.
All right, so Jack sucks.
My problem is very simple. Is that my heart says Sage, but the lineup says Erakoki. But I think my heart wins this one. I think Sage takes this. I think he's going to be underestimated in that 3-seed spot this season. I think he's going to do a lot of work overall. And also, anybody that is a captain of a team called Dirty Mike and the Boys and doesn't bring Dirty Mike back to the boys doesn't get my vote, which is also the reason I think that – no, actually, that's a lie. I actually think Dirty Mike's going to take this one overall, even though I think Sage is going to win that spot. And this is at it. Bitbeaker was a captain of mine in the past. I like Bitbeaker a lot, but him subbing in against Arcane THL, I think Arcane THL takes that, and that was actually a huge factor in me as I was going through going, all right. By the way, I think Tony Montana beats me, myself, and I. I'm saying that now. Write it down. Put it on the books. I'll take it at 3-1 odds. Let's go.
Wow, yep. That's a bold prediction too. Wow.
Listen, this is what's up. So Dirty Mike and the boys walk away from this one, but I'm very disappointed that you did not bring Dirty Mike back to the boys.
No, I do agree with that. That's the biggest crime in this entire matchup here is Dirty Mike is not playing for Dirty Mike and the boys. I don't know how that happened. I'm not even going to ask how that happened, but that should have happened. So, for my prediction here, I think I have to go with Steffi on this one. I like what Sage is doing. Sage is being creative. But with that lineup, I don't see how... I think Erakoki is going to do very, very well in this matchup. So I think Erakoki is going to beat Sage. And can we just talk about the number 5 seed for Dirty Mike and the boys real quick? Arcane THL, who was the runner-up MVP in Sylvanas League last season as a 3 seed, is the 5 seed on Dirty Mike and the boys. That just is absolutely insane in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. He takes that, man.
He does. I think he takes it every time. Cody and Lefty are close. And even though Tony played on my team last season, I don't know if I have that same confidence to say Tony's going to beat myself and I. I do think the boys is going to take this though. I up top. I think they have a strong lineup, and I think I would not be shocked to see them in the finals again, and maybe even take it this year for Regnerus League. So my prediction is going to be Erakoki and Dirty Mike and the boys are winning this. So, all right. So we got through Steffi's match where she's going to have a bias. So let's go to the match where I'm going to have a bias, which is Team Mox versus Spicy Boys. So this is a battle of 2 new teams to Regnerus League. Now, as of right now, let me update this real quick to make sure that there's no additional match. But I believe right now there's more data here. So Spicy Boys is actually up 8-2 right now against Team Mox. Now the match is going to be on Friday, or sorry, that's right. It's going to be on Friday fights. It's going to be the 9 p.m. match, I believe, right now. But it's going to be Banja versus Wolfmac. So I feel like I should. I'll start this time since I'm going to be the one who has a bias to this. So I think Banja is going to win. I honestly think Banja is going to beat Wolfmac here. He had a great season last season in Sylvanas League. I think he's going to do really well against this as well. Cyclometh, I have confidence in him. I think he can beat Cakes. However, I hate to say that I'm going to be the weak link in this matchup. I'm going to be the weak link in this matchup, I have a feeling. I am facing someone with almost 100 PR difference, and though I would like to say that I have confidence in my own skills, I do not necessarily have confidence in my own skills, and with 2 losses already on record, we only need 1 more or loss. Unfortunately, as much as I would like to say we would come back to win this, I don't think I can. So I'm going to say Banjo's going to win his match, but unfortunately, I think at this point, Spicy Boys may actually take this at this point.
Rickaroni Rex.
I know, yeah, that's rough to say that. But
I'm not too far off from you. However, I think we flip that. Shout out to our stream out Banja for being an all-star back there, but unfortunately, I think Wolfmac is going to take it here in the 1 seed to seal the deal in favor of the Spicy Boys. And at that point, I don't think there'll be enough points left on the board for Team Mox to come back, especially with the sweep in there. Unless there's double sweeps. You never know. There's crazier things have happened in THL. Or in Regnerus League now, but I have to give this one to Spicy Boys, and I think Wolfmac is the one that seals the deal on. You say he's playing Friday?
Friday, yeah.
Yeah, I think we know the result of this one come Friday.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with that, like just literally verbatim. Yeah, you guys explained it really well. I think that's 100% what's gonna happen.
All right, so we have just a couple minutes left, so let's go through the last matchup. And this is the one that's coming on right after this. And it's a big one.
It's a big one.
Noob Central, Team Swagboy, Slimch versus Earl. Steffi, we'll start with you on this one. What are your predictions?
Easy. I mean, I think I'm very, again, biased because I'm now a noob. So I definitely think Slimch is going to take this one. I know what he's bringing, and I think he is a really good deck builder. So I think he's just really smart with how he plays. I know Earl did really well too, and Earl's he's a tough competitor. Like, this isn't going to be an easy match by any standards. This is going to be really, really hard. But I think Slimch is going to end up taking it. And I mean, I think that Noob Central is going to be the winners of this matchup. Too.
All right, Jack Sox, really quickly.
I think that Slimch is too short to ride this ride. You have to be at least 5'3". He's 5'2.5". So therefore, I'm going to vote against the grain here, and I'm going to go with Earl. However, I think Noob Central wins this and wins my heart. I love you, noobs.
All right, and I don't know if this is still true. I know at one time Slimch had the highest PR, secret PR, because it does go higher than 500, but we cap it for league purposes at 500. I believe he had the highest PR at one point in time. I don't think you get far betting against Slimch, so I'm actually going to pick Slimch as the winner for this matchup. And what was it? Swagboy's the other team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just solely based on the document, but I'm going to pick Noob Central. So, all right. So that's all our matches for this week. We're right at time, so we are actually going to. I don't think we even got any questions for Q&A anyway. No. So what we're going to do now at this point is we're going to take the stream down for 10 minutes, actually probably about 15 minutes, to get everything ready. And when the stream comes back up, we are going to have Earl versus Slimch, the match we were just talking about, live right here on the Team Hearth League Twitch. So until next week, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Are we down?
Yep.
All right.